on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here for season 19, episode 6 of Married at First Sight. I'm on episode 6, y'all. I haven't made it to episode 7, but I'm going to catch up before they drop the new episodes. This is tough. This is tough doing this many episodes back to back, but I'm hanging in there, and I hope y'all are hanging in there with me. So in this episode, we got to see the last day of the honeymoon in Panama, and everybody got to move into their super, super cute apartments. And just like my thumbnail said, this review is going to be about how I believe the experts did a really good job. Finally, we got a season where the experts showed up early to help save some of these marriages, because some of these marriages are in deep, deep trouble. The ones that are in trouble, Will and Britney are in trouble. Pat and Rhonda are definitely in trouble, and Megan and Derek are in trouble. They're the 911. They are the rush to the emergency. So I'm glad the experts were deployed to these three people, these three couples, and the couples that are not a 911, which are Belinda and Chad, and Josh and Jalen. We may need to do a house visit or urgent center call, but it ain't 911. We're not going to the emergency room. And I really, really like that. But first, we're going to start with the two couples that didn't need a 911. And that is Jalen and Josh. And let me tell you, Jalen says she's going to be the next Peloton spin bike instructor. She got her husband in her class. She done introduced him to all her friends, all her clients. She gonna stay married to this man. I can already see it. And he's gonna stay married to her because he showed up for her class. He sweated it out. He lasted through the whole class and supported her. I see it. I see it going. And remember, when it came to Belinda and Chad, when I first had my prediction on Belinda and Chad, I put them in the middle. I said, I don't know. It could go either way. It depends on how Belinda reacts to Chad. And then once I saw Chad with that bark, I said, ooh, depends on if he can tone that down. And then if the two can do that, we'll have to see. Well, this episode, I'm feeling a lot better, y'all. Let me tell you why. I'm feeling a lot better because it looks like Belinda has taken a page out of her daughter's book. And what that page is, try to find some hobbies and habits and things to do that your husband also enjoys. And remember on the honeymoon, I gave Jalen a lot of praise and said she was scary. She didn't like to try new things. She wasn't adventurous. All Belinda and Jalen said they like to do is get manis and pedis, hair done, toes done, and go shopping. That ain't gonna work. Just like Josh told Jalen, that ain't gonna work. We're in Panama, jump in the ocean. Let's go to the forest, the rainforest. Let's do something. And now what we saw Belinda stepping outside her comfort zone and trying to do something different with Chad. Good for her. Maybe her daughter gave her a few tips, but they're doing okay. I mean, even though Belinda brought that dog with her and that dog runs around barking at Chad, Chad gonna get that dog together because Chad has already told us he's used to the one barking orders. So I know that little, what's it called? Labradoodle, whatever it is, thinks that dog thinks he's gonna run the house and bark at Chad. Give it a minute. Give it a minute till Chad says, I'm the one that barks orders, not you. Go sit down. And he's playing his cards right. He ain't done it yet because he don't want to spook Belinda, because Belinda already said, if you don't treat my dog right, I ain't gonna like you. So Chad is holding his tongue. He's holding his bark. But it's a coming. He gonna get that dog all the way together. So right now, based on what I see with Belinda and Chad, and they even said it, if decision day were today, what would you say? They both were like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it. They're looking good, y'all. They are looking good. They're making all the necessary adjustments that need to be made for there to be a yes on decision day. So Josh and Jalen, Belinda and Chad, y'all looking good. But I'm going to play my introduction video. And then when we come back, we're going to have to talk about these other three couples that's not looking good. And let's see what the experts did to try to get these marriages back on track. See you in a minute. Well, we're back, y'all. We're back. And the first couple that Dr. Pia had to come and talk to was Rhonda and Pat. And she had to get Rhonda all the way together. You see, Rhonda's got a big dilemma. Rhonda's a hard person to work with. And the reason why Rhonda's a hard person to work with is because what I told y'all from the very beginning was when Rhonda came on our screen talking about she wanted someone to accept her as she is. And I said, that's never going to work. It's never going to work. It's not going to work for anyone. So the hard work is first you got to convince Rhonda that that's a myth, that's a fantasy, it's never going to happen. That alone is hard work because she's been holding on to it now, it sounds like for 60 years. After you tell her it's not going to happen, then you've got to convince her that she's going to need to change some ways. That's going to take more work. Then after she even accepts, okay, I've got to change some things, she's going to have to change them. That's even more work. That's why Rhonda's a lot of work. And that's why Rhonda now is sliding down the wall. Because what Dr. Pia did is Dr. Pia told her, your stuff stank too. Your stuff stank too. And although Rhonda was sitting up here trying to point the finger at Pat and tell us everything Pat does wrong and what he doesn't do right, what Dr. Pia came here and said, wait a minute, hold up, girlfriend. This is not good. What you are doing is you are trying to take Pat, who he says he's a people pleaser, and make him sit around and please you all the time. And she's basically not doing anything to accommodate Pat at all. Rhonda's a hot mess, a hot mess. And, by the end of this little session she had, she was crying because what she realized, she was triggered. What she was realized was that, hey, the stuff that Dr. P is bringing up, the stuff that Pat is bringing up, the fact that Pat told her, you make me feel attacked. You put me down. You say nasty things. You act like you all that and I'm not nothing. Then all of a sudden, you have Miss Rhonda saying, this sounds like all my exes. That's right. That's right. Because you've been this person in all your ex relationships. And now you've come into this one trying to be the same person. So now Miss Rhonda has a decision to make. She can get divorced again. She can go on about her way and live in her house all by herself. Because according to Rhonda, Rhonda don't want to share a closet. She don't want to share a house. She doesn't want to share the house she lives in. Not too much at all. Rhonda just wants an audience. Rhonda just wanted a husband to sit and listen to her talk and doesn't say anything. Go get a blow up doll, Rhonda, if that's what you want. If you want a person that has no opinions, no conversation to add, nothing, go get a blow up doll. Because all Pat was trying to do was trying to have a conversation. You see, a conversation involves two people talking, but Rhonda doesn't want a conversation. She wants a monologue. She wants to lecture. That's what she wants. And the minute you bring in any type of information or anything, she says, oh, you're not listening to me. We're tired of listening to you, Rhonda. We are tired of listening to you, Rhonda. And what she thought she was going to do is keep putting Pat on the defense. But Pat don't know how to stand up for himself. So Dr. Pia had to come in the room. And Dr. Pia said, that's okay, Pat. I'll handle this. And Dr. Pia handled Rhonda. And Rhonda sat over there with her lips pursed, her body language all jacked up, saying, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I can dish it, but I can't take it? You mean to tell me I got Pat walking on eggshells, but I don't care. I want him to continue to walk on eggshells because as long as I can keep Pat concentrating on what he needs to do differently, I don't have to do a damn thing. See, that's the thing about people who always want to tell you what's wrong with you, because then what they think is they don't have to do anything. That's Rhonda. I'm so sick of Rhonda. I was glad that Rhonda slid down the wall. I was glad that Rhonda had to flee the house, walk outside with those dogs in the middle of the night. I was glad that Rhonda started feeling the fear that this relationship might be over, because what Rhonda's saying is she's not in a safe space anymore. That's good. No one needs to make a space for this, Rhonda. You don't need it. That's how I want you to feel uncomfortable. Right? Because in order for you to feel safe, Rhonda, everybody else has to be unsafe, unprotected. See, that's your safe space. Your safe space is when you get to do whatever you want to do, say whatever you want to say, and everybody else has got to be uncomfortable. Nope, not this time, Rhonda. You cannot feel safe. You can slide down the raw. You can be uncomfortable until you learn you're going to have to change your behavior. Not everybody else, you. You are going to have to change your behavior. So I was happy that Dr. Pia handled Rhonda. At first, I was thinking that Dr. Pepper should have been the one to come over there and talk to them, since Dr. Pepper also has a similar living condition, like seems like Rhonda wants, which is living in separate houses. But in the end, I think the heavy-handedness of Dr. Pia was good. I think Dr. Pepper is a little bit too soft sometimes. So I was glad that Rhonda got Dr. Pia. In the end, Rhonda ain't gonna like Dr. Pia because Rhonda's not gonna like the hard words. She's not gonna want to hear what she needs to hear. And she's probably not gonna like Dr. Pia in the end. But that's okay, Dr. Pia. Everybody can't be liked. You got a job to do. And right now, Dr. Pia, you did your job. You did it. Now, we're gonna move on to the next couple that I believe did their job, and that's Pastor Cal. Pastor Cal came in and said, let me help Britney and Will. I'm going to say this about Will. When I first was introduced to Will, I thought he's unforgiving. He's a little bit too antagonistic. He doesn't try to find common ground. He speaks his truth, but at the expense of other people. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And I thought we got sensitive Britney, who you got to walk on eggshells around. This is not going to work. It's not going to work. But let me tell you what's happening right now. Will is actually carrying the relationship, because it seems as if Will, who says he's emotionally intelligent, has figured out that Britney can't handle his truth. You see, all that truth Will was dishing out to the parents at the wedding, he hasn't brought that to the marriage now because he realizes Britney can't take it. You see, Pastor Cal told Will, speak your mind, speak up. She's a big girl. She can take it. And Will looked at Pastor Cal and said, you think so? Will, you're right. She can't handle it. So what I'm proud about Will is he's actually pulled back. He's actually realized that Britney is very, very fragile. But he can't walk on eggshells forever. See, Britney is going to have to get better. And this whole kerfuffle over when they went to go see her house, and he didn't have enough flowery words, enough praise for the fact that she bought a house at such young age. And now her feelings were hurt because he said, hey, maybe you don't need to bring all these clothes. And next thing you know, she's crumbling in the closet and crying. Good Lord, Britney, this much fragility over a man saying, don't bring so many clothes. Do you know how many women hear that from their husbands? Are don't pack so many clothes on the trip. Your closet has too many shoes. And now you're sitting over in the closet crying over this. Give me a break. But let me tell you something, Britney. What you don't realize is that Will probably did give you grace. Because what I'm thinking is that although he didn't give you flowery words on your house, there were probably a lot of things about your house Will didn't like. He might not have liked the house. He might not have liked the neighborhood. He might not have liked your decorations. He might have not liked a lot about it. But what he did was he didn't give you his real personality, which is to tell you what he didn't like. He actually held back. He actually gave you some grace. But see, you don't count it as grace because you're so fragile. Even his grace feels harsh. So I don't know how long Will is going to be able to hold his tongue, if that he'll have to shrink so much just so Britney can stay alive and she can be fragile. That's not going to work. Britney is going to have to get better, because if she does not get better, the Will, who is holding back now part of his tongue, which he needs to learn how to do that. I don't know how long he's going to be able to do it. I really don't know how long he's going to be able to do it. So Britney's got a lot of work to do. I was happy that Pastor Cal came in and gave Will some support, and also telling Britney she needs to learn to be a bit more verbal with her communication, that she doesn't have good verbal communication skills. She's got good body language communication skills, her crying, her withdrawing, her sulking, but that's childlike behavior. Where are your words, Britney? Where are your words? And I think Will is trying. I mean, probably Will being a straight shooter has probably been the demise of a lot of relationships. People have probably thought about him, what I thought about him early on, and that he can be truthful but rude at the same time. And that's turned off a lot of women. And maybe what he's saying is, I don't want to bring that Will to this relationship. So he's trying to strike a better balance. I'm proud of Will, honestly. Honestly, I really am. I didn't see it coming, but now that it's here, I like it. But Britney, you got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do in order to meet him in the middle. Will has stepped to the middle. He says, I won't say everything so harsh. I'm stepping to the middle. But Britney's got to be way less fragile than she is. Way less fragile. And then we're going to move on to another couple that got some 911 emergency counseling, and that's Derek and Megan. And Pastor Cal did a good job with them, because let me tell you something. All up until now, I was all over Megan. But this episode, I really honed into some parts about Derek that became really, really evident. First of all, Derek may be a bit OCD. I'm not going to lie. One is, I think he's a bit OCD. Second of all, with Derek, is what I talked about earlier, and that Derek is sort of a lone wolf. He's a wanderer. Remember, Derek is the one that's lived in 4 different countries on his own by himself. He also just moved here to Austin on his own. He says he's got a few friends, but no real roots. Derek is a loner. And so what that tells me is Derek is used to things his way. Another part of Derek, what I'm starting to pick up on or see, is that he's not used to constructive criticism. Now, remember when we met his mother, I said his mother was a sweet woman, kind woman. She said very nice things to Derek, things that made him feel good, fluffed him up, pumped him up, made him feel good. And I said, Derek is used to sweetness and kindness, but that also might mean Derek is not used to constructive criticism. And I said, but if Megan comes with that harsh tongue of her mother, this is not going to work. Well, what have we seen? We've seen that Megan is very stuck in her ways. We know that about her. But what we're also seeing is that Derek isn't that comfortable with constructive criticism. He's got ways about him too. And what Megan said was, wait a minute, you're not the only one compromising, right? Do I do some things wrong? Yeah, but I've also compromised on some things, and Derek didn't give her full acknowledgement of that. Because that whole toilet seat thing, oh yeah, that's a thing. That's a whole thing. But let me tell you something. The part about the dog, I'm on Derek's side about that partially. And I also tell you this. I think Derek is going to fall in love with that dog. That dog is so cute. I didn't like the way Derek was calling her dog an it. I thought that was cold. I thought that was distant. We're often calling Megan the ice princess, but the fact that he kept calling the dog an it, I thought that was a problem. The fact that he didn't want the dog to stay in the bed or sleep in the bed, I'm okay with that. A lot of people don't like that. But the fact that he called it an it, I didn't like it. I think that dog is going to come to like Derek more than that dog likes Megan, because I think Derek is going to turn into a little old sweetheart with that dog. But right now, Derek is overwhelmed because, like I said, he is a loner, a lone wolf in a lot of ways. And what I think is now, not only is he sharing space with Megan, he's also sharing space with a dog. Those are 2 things at one time. And I think Derek is a bit overwhelmed. Now, do I think that he was helped by Pastor Cal? I do. Because when Pastor Cal gave Megan an opportunity to say, well, what were some of the things she wished were better, he really clammed up. He really got defensive. His body language changed completely. I think Derek is much more comfortable being praised, but he doesn't take well to constructive criticism. He doesn't remain open, which tells me that these 2, in a lot of ways, they are more similar than I originally thought. That means they both are going to have to learn to come to the middle. Both of them. They're going to have to learn. But I think in the end, Derek is going to fall in love with that dog. He's going to really like that dog. And Megan is actually going to be jealous that dog is probably going to like Derek more. Now, did I agree with Derek that at the initial onset of meeting the dog, all of a sudden Megan is dumping all the responsibility of the dog onto Derek? Yeah, too much too soon. Megan, you just told us that this dog is like your child. So tell me the minute somebody introduced to your child, all of a sudden they got to take your child everywhere? Megan, you were wrong for that. You were wrong for that. But I can see how both of these can be a bit cold and distant when someone tells them something about themselves. And if they're not able to figure out how to take constructive criticism and then find the common ground, they're going to have a problem. they will have a problem. But I was really happy that the experts intervened with all these three couples very early and didn't just leave them out here floundering in the wind. I hope that this makes a difference. We shall see. All right, that's all I got, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.